Here are those who walk through the world with closed minds, seeing only what their eyes show them, believing that reality is limited to what they can touch, to what others have already told. But there are others who dare to imagine, to question, who seek beyond the written words, who know that every shadow hides a hidden truth, that every mystery is a portal to the unknown. They are those who are not afraid to delve into the inexplicable, who listen to the echoes of forgotten secrets, who look at the sky and wonder what lies beyond. Because in every story there is a whisper of the forbidden. In every enigma, a call to decipher what no one dares to say. And it is here, in this space, where we explore what others only dare to hint at. Welcome to Divine Code. Since ancient times, humanity has felt the need to understand what surrounds us, to decipher the secrets of the universe, to find answers where others only see questions. And among those secrets, there is one that stands out for its darkness and the veil that covers it. A book, attributed to a man who walked with God, who witnessed what no mortal should see. A text considered dangerous, so disturbing that it was excluded from the official scriptures. Who was Enoch? What secrets does this mysterious book contain? Why does it speak of fallen angels, of giants, and of a divine judgment that even today leaves us breathless? Today, we will dive into the mystery of the Book of Enoch, a story that reveals more than we can imagine, and invites us to question everything we thought we knew. And it is in this space, in this moment, when we pause to look at the unknown, that the inevitable question arises. A question that has echoed through the centuries, that has awakened both faith and doubt, and that leads us directly to the heart of the mystery. If this book speaks of heavenly secrets, of rebellious angels and powerful giants, who was the man who wrote it? Who was he who dared to look beyond the veil of reality? He who walked with God. His name is Enoch. But who was he really? Enoch, son of Jared, great-grandfather of Noah, is one of the most enigmatic and fascinating figures in biblical tradition. His story is told in just a few lines in Genesis, but his influence and mystery run so deep that they inspired forbidden texts, legends, and hidden revelations. The Bible tells us that Enoch was born at a time when humanity was beginning to multiply across the face of the earth. He was the son of Jared, a direct descendant of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, which makes him part of the sacred line that maintained the connection with God after the original sin. Enoch lived for 365 years, a number that some interpret as a symbol of completeness, of a full cycle, reflecting the days of the solar year. His life, unlike that of other patriarchs, did not end in death. The Bible states that Enoch walked with God and he was no more because God took him. What does this mean? Was he taken to heaven? Was he transformed into a spiritual being? Enoch was a man who, according to traditions, lived in deep intimacy with the divine. It is said that he received visions, that he ascended to the heavens, and that he conversed with angels and with God himself. These experiences led him to write the book that bears his name, a narrative that reveals the secrets of the universe, the judgment of the fallen angels, and the final destiny of humanity. His life is not only tied to the Bible. In extra-biblical texts such as the Book of Enoch, it is described how he was instructed by angels, how he visited different levels of heaven, and how he witnessed the throne of God. Enoch thus becomes a bridge between the human and the divine, a symbol of hidden knowledge and secret wisdom that transcends generations. But his story does not end there. According to ancient Hebrew and Christian traditions, Enoch was considered not only a prophet, but also a celestial scribe, tasked with recording the actions of both men and angels. This role makes him an essential figure for understanding the mystery of the final judgment and eternal destiny. In summary, Enoch is much more than an ancient name. He is the testimony that there are men who have seen what others cannot see, who have heard what others dare not hear, and who invite us to open our minds to discover truths that have been hidden for centuries. From the oldest stories in the scriptures, Enoch is remembered as the one who was taken by God, as the man who walked with the divine and did not experience death. But this story, so brief in Genesis, finds its development in the Book of Enoch, a text found in its complete form only in Ethiopia, preserved in the Ethiopian tradition while considered apocryphal by other Christian currents. According to the Book of Enoch itself, his visions began when he was around 65 years old, just after the birth of his son Methuselah. This detail coincides with what is narrated in Genesis 5:21-24, where it is stated that Enoch fathered Methuselah and then walked with God for 300 years. This relationship with his son and the symbolic age mark a key moment, the revelation and the beginning of his celestial visions. This is where we should pause for a moment and talk about Methuselah. Methuselah is not just a footnote in Enoch's story. According to the biblical account, he is the longest-lived man in all of humanity. Genesis 5:27 tells us that Methuselah lived 969 years, a figure that has fascinated scholars, believers, and the curious alike. His longevity is interpreted by many as a symbol of divine favor, a sign that the line of Enoch and Seth was blessed. But it also holds a profound meaning. Methuselah witnessed entire generations, the growth and corruption of humanity, and died just before the universal flood. Some texts interpret this as an act of divine mercy, sparing Methuselah from witnessing the destruction. Returning to Enoch, his visions led him to ascend through the seven heavens, a structure not exclusive to the Book of Enoch, but also found in other Jewish apocalyptic traditions and mystical texts, like the Book of Jubilees and the Testament of Levi. Each heaven was described as a separate domain, with angels, guardians, and secrets reserved only for the chosen. Enoch witnessed the throne of God, surrounded by choirs of cherubim and seraphim, as described in the Book of Enoch itself, chapter 14, where he recounts his encounter with the great King of Glory seated on his radiant throne. There, Enoch beheld the judgment of the fallen angels, known as the Watchers. These angels, according to the account in the Book of Enoch and Genesis 6, descended to earth and took human wives, engendering the Nephilim, those powerful giants who filled the earth with violence. It was here that Enoch received the divine mandate to be a messenger and celestial scribe. According to the text itself, as narrated in Enoch 15 and 16, God commanded him to deliver the verdict of their condemnation to the Watchers. They would be imprisoned eternally until the day of judgment. Enoch also contemplated places of punishment, described in Enoch 21, where the souls of sinners were held, and he clearly saw how the Nephilim would be destroyed by the great flood, announced long before its arrival. This connection between Enoch, the Watchers, and the Nephilim leads us to a line of thought that many consider censored by later religious authorities because of how disturbing and challenging it was for official theology. Here, I want to pause for a moment and remind you that if you want to learn more about the Nephilim and the giants, we have a video dedicated to this topic, where we explore in depth who they were, what secrets surround them, and why their story is so unsettling. I'll leave the link in the description so you can check it out after this video. Returning to Enoch's visions, according to Ethiopian traditions and interpretations by authors like R.H. Charles and scholars of apocryphal texts, it is understood that these experiences were not only progressive, but increased in intensity and depth. Some fragments of the Book of Enoch tell us that these experiences were so transformative that Enoch was clothed in glory like a luminous being, before being fully taken by God. Thus, Enoch's visions were not just encounters with the divine. They were a revelation of the secrets of the cosmos, the order of the stars, the final destiny of souls, and the judgment that would come for both angels and men alike. A story that, due to its depth and mystery, was considered too dangerous to be included in the official scriptures, but that still today continues to fascinate those who dare to look beyond. After exploring the visions and revelations that Enoch received, we are left to uncover one of the greatest mysteries related to his figure, the Book of Enoch. A fascinating text, forbidden to some, revered by others, that contains celestial secrets, prophetic warnings, and descriptions of worlds that challenge the imaginable. The transition to this mystery is natural, almost inevitable. Because what happens when a man, a mere mortal, is taken to contemplate the throne of God, to hear the judgment of the fallen angels, and to understand the destiny of humanity? It happens that what he saw must be recorded, told, transmitted, and that is where the Book of Enoch is born. This book, also known as First Enoch, is no minor text. Its existence was known from ancient references, but its complete form was preserved only in Ge'ez, in the liturgical language of the Ethiopian Church, which still considers it part of its canon. The first news about it in the West came thanks to the translation from Ethiopian to English by Richard Lawrence in 1821, and later studies, such as those of R. H. Charles and George W. E. Nicholsburg, confirmed it as one of the most influential apocalyptic texts of Second Temple Judaism. Here, I would like to ask you a question. Had you ever heard of the Book of Enoch before this video? What do you think about the fact that such an ancient text was considered too dangerous to be included in the Bible? I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your point of view. The Book of Enoch was not written at a single moment or by a single hand. It is a compilation of various texts that span from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CAC, originally written in Aramaic and Hebrew, fragments of which were found at Qumran in the famous Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in 1947. These discoveries confirmed that the Book of Enoch was known and valued in the time of Jesus, and probably influenced early Christian tradition. As for its content, the Book of Enoch is divided into 5 main sections. 1. The Book of the Watchers, which narrates the fall of the angels, their union with the daughters of men, and the creation of the Nephilim. The Book of Parables, which contains visions of the Messiah, the final judgment, and the destiny of souls. The Astronomical Book, detailing the movements of the sun, moon, and stars with surprising accuracy for its time. The Book of Dreams, describing symbolic visions of humanity's past and future. The Epistle of Enoch, with exhortations to the righteous and condemnations of the sinners. The real author of the Book of Enoch remains a mystery. It is attributed to Enoch, but its compilation was clearly the work of anonymous authors, probably part of apocalyptic Jewish communities resisting the dominant current of Temple Judaism. These communities saw Enoch as a model of justice and revelation, an intermediary between God and men. And here, I would also like you to participate. Would you be interested in a future video where we explore these sections of the Book of Enoch in more detail? For example, would you like us to analyze the astronomical book more deeply, or perhaps the Book of Dreams? Let me know in the comments so we can continue discovering together. Due to its challenging content, which spoke of rebellious angels, celestial secrets, and knowledge that broke with the official vision, the Book of Enoch was excluded from the biblical canon. Although it was popular in the early Christian community, and even cited in verse 14 of the Epistle of Jude, it was later considered heretical, and only the Ethiopian Orthodox Church still preserves it today as part of its canon. But beyond all that, this book is a testament to a time when the mysteries of the cosmos, of judgment and of human destiny were within reach of those who dared to look beyond. What makes the Book of Enoch a unique and fascinating work is the number of mysteries it holds, each more unsettling than the last. Let's explore them together to understand why this text has been so debated and hidden throughout history. One of the first mysteries is that of the Watchers, those angels sent to protect humanity, but who, as narrated in the Book of Enoch, chapters 6 to 16, rebelled and descended to earth. There they took human wives, giving rise to the Nephilim, the giants mentioned in Genesis 6. This story is unsettling because it speaks not only of an angelic transgression, but of the transfer of forbidden knowledge, astrology, metallurgy, magic, a topic that has given rise to countless esoteric interpretations and conspiracy theories. Another mystery is found in the so-called astronomical book, which details the movements of the sun, moon, and stars with surprising precision for its time. Some scholars, like R.H. Charles, have interpreted that these descriptions may have been based on real astronomical observations, while others suggest that it involves knowledge transmitted by the fallen angels. Whatever the truth, this section raises questions about how ancient societies could have had such an advanced understanding of the cosmos. The judgment of the Watchers is another of the great mysteries. Enoch narrates how God orders these rebellious angels to be imprisoned in eternal prisons under the earth, awaiting the day of final judgment. This account, found in chapters 9 and 10, suggests that even angels are subject to divine laws and that their fall has no return. Where are these prisons? Do they really exist? These questions continue to fuel the mystery. The universal flood is also prophesied by Enoch. According to the Book of Dreams, Enoch had visions of the destruction of the Nephilim by means of a great cataclysm. This connection with the story of Noah leads us to think of Enoch as a precursor to the Genesis narratives and raises the possibility that his book contains truths predating the consolidated biblical tradition. We cannot forget the mystery of the Book of Memories, mentioned in the texts of Enoch, where the actions of men and angels are recorded. This concept introduces the idea that everything we do is written, not only in the divine consciousness, but in celestial records. Could this be an ancient way of conceiving the concept of karma, or even of a universal record? Finally, the Book of Parables introduces the figure of the Son of Man, a messianic character who will come to judge the righteous and the unrighteous. This image has been related by many scholars to the figure of Christ, suggesting that the Book of Enoch may have deeply influenced early Christian thought. Now, I want to pause for a moment and speak directly to you. All these mysteries, from the fallen angels to the celestial records, invite us to reflect. What do you think? Do you believe these stories are mere myths? Or do they hide truths we have yet to fully comprehend? Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Your point of view may open new doors for this community we are building together. As we approach the end of this journey through the Book of Enoch, we cannot help but stop before one of its greatest mysteries, Enoch's own disappearance. According to Genesis 5:24, Enoch walked with God, and he was no more, because God took him. There is no mention of his death, nor his tomb. He simply ceased to be here. This detail has given rise to countless interpretations. Some believe Enoch was taken directly to heaven, transformed into a celestial being. Others hold that his disappearance symbolizes the possibility of transcending this reality, of breaking the barriers of time and space. And this is where one of the most fascinating mysteries arises. What if Enoch not only ascended, but traveled through time. Some researchers, inspired by esoteric theories and parallels with other ancient accounts, suggest that Enoch may have accessed unknown dimensions, parallel planes, or future times. This idea, though speculative, resonates with the stories of other biblical figures like Elijah, whose death is also not mentioned and who was taken to heaven in a chariot of fire. What does this disappearance really mean? A physical transfer, a spiritual transformation, or perhaps a journey to other worlds? These questions remain open and remind us that for every answer, new questions arise. The fascinating thing about these mysteries is not just what they tell us, but what they invite us to imagine. And here, I want to invite you. What do you think about the story of Enoch? Do you believe he was a time traveler, a prophet who transcended this dimension, or simply a symbolic figure? Share your thoughts in the comments. Also, tell me what other topics you'd like us to explore in future videos. Do you want us to continue with the secrets of the fallen angels, or delve into other mysterious biblical figures like Elijah or Melchizedek? Your opinion is key for this community to grow, and for us to discover more enigmas from the past together. Because here, at Divine Code, the truth is not always written. Sometimes you have to know where to look.